If you're someone who is in a process right now of stepping into your next level, maybe you are trying to create some deep transformation, you have some goals, whether it's love, money, career, success, maybe you just want to change your lifestyle habits, maybe there's some personal health habits, but whatever that is, you're in a space where you are ready for more when it comes into your life. You know that you need to break these old patterns and step into a different version of you. Today, we are going to be talking about three things that need to happen in this process in order for you to step into your next level. And these are going to be some of the more actionable steps that you need to get into alignment with your high self worth and your next level. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Zara J, founder of the Love Loft and the 8 Love Loop Patterns. And I'm so excited to be with you today to talk to you about these three powerful shifts that I take my clients through. I take anyone that I'm working with through the Love Loft, but these are also things that I consistently do for myself. Let me just tell you this. For those of you who are new to this podcast, don't know my background, I've been in the coaching industry for roughly about 10 years now. I started off with matchmaking and then coaching and with captivating courtship, and then we launched the Love Loft. And as long as I've been in this industry, I will honestly tell you the tools that I have created for the Love Loft and the work that I do with the Love Loft are the most personal, because these are things that I did not just create to just give you the playbook and the handbook and hand off to you. These are tools, processes, and systems and modalities that I use every single day. I use, not a week goes by that I do not use the specific tools and resources that I have created for the Love Loft. So every single thing that I'm telling you today is not just something that I'm preaching to you off of a mountaintop, but I actively use in real time. So the three shifts that I'm going to be sharing with you today is the processes of energy shedding, next level leaps, and integration, and why these are so important and key so that you don't fall into old habits. You don't fall into those old love loop patterns. You don't self sabotage, and you not only get in alignment, but you're able to keep the thing that you're calling in, whether it's the relationship, the partner, the friendships, the career, the home, the car, whatever it is. That you don't just attract it, but you're able to keep it and continue to grow into your next levels after that. Now, the thing with these shifts are, these shifts happen in the process of when you're becoming that next version of yourself. Identity shifting is key. When we talk about stepping into your next level, you have to be someone who's willing to shed the old identity and step into the new. And for so many, this is very difficult to do. If you are super emotionally attached to your old identity, to your old lifestyle, to your old ways, no matter how much action you take, no matter how badly you want something, it will be very difficult for you to actually attract it. It will be difficult for you to keep it. It will be difficult for you to fully embody the version of yourself that has it, because you're unwilling to make those hard shifts. Now, when we talk about energy shedding, next level leaps, and integration, I'm going to break down all three of these and what that means and what that needs to look like for you. But it is important to understand that for every goal that you have, for every level that you are stepping into, it looks very different. For every person, it looks very different. So what may be a next level big leap for you may not be a next level leap for somebody else. It may be something very small, maybe something they don't have to do, because all of this goes back to your programming, whether it's your childhood wounds, wounds that you develop later in life, your beliefs, your patterns, all of those things have a major impact on where your limitations are and where you're always hitting your growth edge when it comes to attracting your desires. But if you find yourself repeating cycles and you find yourself having a difficult time attracting and keeping the things that you want, then these three things are some of the actionable steps that you're going to want to focus on. Now, of course, in our process, when we talk about the steps that we take you through the Love Loft, whether it's inside the portal, it could be, one-on-one coaching as a member, any of those things. When you learn our process, the initial things that you want to do is get clear on your patterns, create the clear vision, and you need to unblock those deeper subconscious beliefs, right? So you're rewiring the patterns. But the next three things that you want to focus on is energy shedding, next level leaps, and integration. And this process applies to everything. It doesn't matter if it's love, money, self-worth expansion. When you are up leveling or stabilizing your life, you have to do these three things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, right now, just to give you some clue and context, I'm going through this process right now. It's been a lot of energy shedding. Sometimes energy shedding happens when you don't even want it to, and you just can't help it, and things are just shedding and falling off on their own. And a lot of other times, it's going to be more intentional work that you're going to have to do. But I've been going through this right now. If you're not super familiar with me or my background, the process of going and shifting from captivating courtship and having that as the primary focus as far as my business and my lifestyle, and really a major part of my identity for the last about 5 or 6 years specifically, has been as the owner of captivating courtship and the role that I play over there. Now, I still have captivating courtship. I don't spend as much time in that business, but bringing the Love Loft to the forefront and building this whole entire business has required such an identity shift on so many different levels. It's been very, very challenging for me. I mean, mentally, emotionally, financially, the challenges that I've had, the risk I've had to take, the version of myself and who I'm stepping into, the decisions I've had to make. There's been so much growth in less than a year of really focusing in on this vision that I've had since 2019, but I purposefully delayed it about 3 to 5 years. So once I started stepping into it, which that came around the 5-year mark between me focusing on captivating courtship, I already knew that that was going to be a bridge company to the Love Loft. But once I made that decision to step into the Love Loft, there has been so many changes that required me to step into a more aligned version of myself, whether I liked it or not. Decisions I've had to make, services I've had to create, services I've had to let go of, decisions I've had to make in my personal life as far as my overall lifestyle, how I'm living, how I am managing my time, how I'm managing my finances, how I'm managing my stress, my beliefs, stretching my beliefs and my capacity to a different level. I mean, there's been so many things that I've had to do, things I've had to let go of, things I've had to step into, especially after a taxing year prior to that caused me to get very comfortable and very complacent with the old version of me. So I have been doing a lot of energy shedding and stepping into not just my worthiness, but stepping into someone that has the capacity to hold the things that I desire. Being able to hold the Love Loft specifically, that requires a different level of mental and emotional capacity that I haven't had to stretch yet. And that can be very scary. It can be very taxing. It can lead to burnout. It can lead to a lot of stress and overwhelm. And that's just in business and career. That's not having to do with anything in my personal life when I shut the laptop off and all the other duties and responsibilities that I have inside of my family and my home. But just for this specifically, it has required so much of me that it has pushed me past my growth edge day after day, week after week, where I'm constantly having to challenge myself, my beliefs, my patterns, and do the deep inner work. So I am doing the visualizations. I am doing the energy shedding. I am doing the breath work, the sound, the Reiki, all of the things so that I can stay in alignment and be able to hold the mental and emotional capacity for the very thing that I'm calling in. So everything that I'm telling you is playing out in my life in real time, 100%. But I'm also seeing it play out with my clients. And as they are stepping into the next version of themselves, whether it's upping their career and their financial abundance, it could be launching a business, it could be attracting a partner, it could be letting go of a partner. But the version of themselves that they're calling in is not just about the unblocking and the inner work. That's one part, but I don't want you to get stuck at that. The other steps that I'm going to be covering in just a moment, these steps are actually some of the more challenging aspects for some because it requires them to actively make a different decision. And when you're trying to actively make a different decision, your brain and your body are going to be at war with one another until you create a new habit, until you create a new pattern and a new identity and a new way of being. So it's so crucial to do these things, and I'm just going to go ahead and dive into it. So the first thing that comes when you are making these shifts into your next level, after you've gotten clear on what your patterns are, you've gotten clear on the vision, you've done the inner work, you've done the rewiring, and now you're ready to take action. You're ready to, like, okay, let's go. I'm putting my backpack on. I'm ready to embark on this journey to my next level. The first thing that you need to do is what I call energy shedding. Now, you can't step into your next level if you're dragging the weight, the beliefs. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's environments, sometimes it's material things, but you are carrying the weight of your old level and who you used to be. The process of energy shedding is not just about the actions that you're taking, it really is something much more deeper on a spiritual and emotional level. It is a detox of you trusting and believing. You're building that trust muscle and stepping into that belief of what you deserve and what you desire. You are making the decision to speed up time and create divine timing. What do I mean by create that divine timing? Divine timing comes down to you being who you need to be to receive the thing that you've been asking for, whether you want to call it Allah, God, source, the universe. I don't care what terminology you use, but you've been asking, you've been praying, you've been calling in your next level of relationship, more money, whatever it is that you desire. In order for you to collapse that time and to speed up that process, you have to actively become the version of yourself that's in alignment and that has the capacity and the ability to receive it. So it's deeply spiritual and emotional for you to open up that receiving energy, and the receiving energy is connected to the feminine. For you to open up your receiving energy so that you can build your trust muscle and allow yourself to attract in what you want, you have to also actively have to be able to release it. Now, the first three steps of our process here at the Love Loft is a lot more connected to the feminine, right? It's creating the emotional stability that you need to hold it. And then we have these more masculine, energized, actionable steps, because you need the masculine and feminine. It doesn't matter what your gender is, if you're male or female, we all have to operate in our masculine and feminine, create a healthy balance in order to get the things done that we need to get done. But when it comes to manifesting your next level, calling it in, whatever you want to talk about, just stepping into your next level, you can't just rely on just the inner work and just the feminine aspects. You have to also take the masculine action. And that's what energy shedding really comes down to. It allows you to start inviting in and letting go of what no longer reflects your self-worth or your desires or the future that you are creating. Now, this can look like letting go of old beliefs, old habits, old identities, ways that you identify, things that you call yourself. Like, for example, let's say you're a mom. You might want to let go of the identity of I'm a single mom. Doesn't mean that you're not, technically, right? But you may want to just call yourself a mom. Why? Because when you say I'm a single mom, and if you use that as a reasoning for not being able to afford, not having the time, whatever the beliefs that you have that's associated with the concept or the identity of being a single mom, you're going to keep repeating that as long as you make the decision that that is your identity. So you can just simply shift to an identity of just calling yourself a mom, a mother, whatever it is that you need to tell yourself that aligns with a more empowered, high self-worth version of yourself. Maybe if you are in a certain career field, you might need to shift your title. You might need to shift how you are referring to yourself in a way that's going to make you feel more aligned, more empowered, and you may need to let go of the old label, the old identity, or the old habits, the old lifestyle, the old career that no longer serves you. But letting go of those old beliefs, the old identities, the old habits, just some of the ways that it could be showing up. This could be releasing emotionally unavailable relationships or friendships or people or whatever role you have played in that relationship dynamic that no longer serves you. That may be a part of it. A lot of times when people are doing an energy shed, that may come with a divorce. It may come with a breakup. It may come with having some tough conversations with some friends or some family members or your spouse, because what you have been doing and how you've been operating no longer serves you, and you need to make that shift. And this can be super, super, super scary if you believe that the foundation to those relationships are weak, and that by setting boundaries or by using your voice or for asking for what you want or no longer shrinking, or it could mean just stepping into your self-worth and coming more to the forefront. If you have any underlying beliefs that that is going to cause the relationship to fall off, maybe it triggers abandonment wounds, maybe it triggers some fear of rejection or disappointment or failure or any of that, then these beliefs are going to be holding you back, telling you that it's not safe to shift the way that those relationships are showing up in your life. So you have to be very mindful of, where am I avoiding shedding old energy or people or circumstances or environments that I have outgrown and that no longer serves where I'm trying to go. This could be cleaning out your closet or shifting your environment. This is something big that I actually really love doing with clients when I'm working with them and we get to a certain point, working with each other. I'm like, okay, it's time to clean house. What are the things that we're going to let go of? What are the shifts that we're going to make? Where can we call in new energy? What are the things that we're going to replace it with? This can be a very, very fun and renewing energy that allows you to open up so much of your mental, emotional space to let the new in. And this could also be saying no to old roles, routines, or expectations that no longer fit you. Saying no is so powerful. Setting those boundaries are so powerful, because when you say no, when you're willing to step into your worthiness and you're willing to set those boundaries, that is when you have the opportunity to call in the inevitability of attracting what you want. When you have a weak no, or you're scared to say no, or you're scared to set boundaries, you will consistently create the very thing that you don't want, because you're saying yes to the relationships, the people, the jobs, the amount of money, the circumstances, the house, the car, the things that you don't even want. So no is so important, and no is so powerful. And when you get out of the fear of missing out on the things that you don't even want, that is when you can manifest that next level. Now, all of this is super uncomfortable, and I understand that. It can be very uncomfortable. Yet the thing is that even when you're questioning self, you are in a space of doubt, you are willing to take those steps forward. That is the work, and that is how you get in alignment with that next level. And here's the thing that I want you to know too. And I tell this client, I actually had a conversation with a client about this last week, because she is stepping into a career upgrade and possibly a relocation, getting a better job, making more money, so many amazing things that she's been wanting. Is like right on the edge. She's right on the edge of it right now. So amazing. But one of the things that I told her in our session was that when she goes to make this big shift, when she gets the job, moves to a new city, leaves her current career that she's been at for almost 10 years, making more money, letting go of some of the old things, she's going to have to shift the identity, because she's going to be in a different tax bracket. She's going to be in a new environment. She's going to have new friends, new everything. And this can be very, very shocking to your nervous system when you make so many big transitions at once. When you do this, it is very common and is normal that you are going to grieve your old identity. You are going to go through some sadness, maybe some depression. You're going to have some regrets. You might even have a little bit of buyer's remorse, second guessing yourself, because you're letting go of what has kept you safe and so comfortable for so long. I want you to think about it like if you are embarking on a journey and you've been living in this village in your small town for 10 years, 20 years, however long you've been in this same space, and you finally have made the decision to leave the village and to venture off into the unknown. That is extremely, extremely scary. And then when you venture off into the unknown and you decide to leave your village, not only do you realize that there's more waiting for you out there, but you also feel a sadness or a grief because you realize how little the people back in the village actually have, or how much they've been settling because they've been scared to go for more or to leave the village, right? Like, this is the same thing internally that you're going to mentally, emotionally feel on a deeper subconscious level when you go through a big upgrade. You are going to realize that all these years you've been holding yourself back, settling for men or settling for relationships that don't deserve you because you didn't have the worthiness to ask or go for more. You're going to realize that you've been limiting yourself in a career or a lifestyle or friendship groups that no longer serve you. You've been settling in those areas for so long, or maybe not even settling. Maybe you've just been complacent in those areas for so long when all you had to do was make a couple of different decisions to open up abundance, greater networks, and a greater lifestyle. There may be a sadness when you realize that you've been the only one that's been in your way and you've been holding yourself back. And things could have been so much easier and could have happened so much faster if you would have had the courage to take these steps sooner. But I want to encourage you to give yourself tons of grace, tons of compassion, and then to continue to do this inner work that we serve you with inside the Love Loft. Continue to working through the modules. You're going to continue to work through your next level beliefs. Do the triggers workshop. Do the emotions workshop. Do the next level self alignment workshop. You want to continue to do any shadow work workshops that's inside the modules so that you can get to the root of whatever beliefs, whatever doubts are coming up, whatever guilt or shame may be coming up, so that you don't allow yourself to self-sabotage and revert back to the old ways that you have just broke through to get out of. So once you do this and you grieve the parts, then you have to truly, truly embrace and accept the fact that this is just a season of exfoliation. It's a season where you are shedding, and that when you let go of what's old, it actually gives you a chance to glow. It gives you a chance to level up. It clears the mental, emotional space for you to bring new in. So I want you to ask yourself, what in your life right now feels misaligned with the version of you that you say that you want to become? Ask yourself that. Journal it, write it down, and make the decision that energy shedding, it's not a punishment to let go of the new. I know you might have your emotional attachments. You might be very, sentimental when it comes to, my son is so sentimental when it comes to like everything. He's so emotionally sentimental. Like, he will hold on to things from his childhood or things that are outdated because he gets so emotionally attached. He's not great with change. Bless his heart, such a sweet boy. But this is the preparation that you need for your next level. Now, the next thing that you're going to do, once you go through the energy shedding process, the next thing that you're going to do is take that next level leap. Sometimes the leap that you're calling in is going to have to be an intentional decision. You're going to have to consciously make the decision to make a big leap and to make some type of big step that's going to catapult you into your next level. And sometimes you manifest that leap in whether you are ready or not. But either way, this is just an invitation from the source that's going to help you to get in alignment with your next level. It is your invitation to rise. Right now, the client that I was referring to earlier, one of the things, it was so magical just last week. She had been energy shedding. I've been paying attention to the phase that she had been in our journey of working together. And I said to her, I said, hey, I think it's time for you to make a big leap. I think it's time for your next level leap. And you need to decide what that's going to be. And she instantly went into like, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know what that step could be. And she did take some steps of her own after I said that were maybe some next level leaps, but not true next level leaps. They were still baby steps, right? And this is the thing. If you are someone who tiptoe out of your comfort zone, you are never truly going to call in the things that you want because you're always taking these tiny, tiny baby steps to your growth edge. And more than likely, before you get a chance to actually get over the edge, you self-sabotage and end up running back. So next level leaps are super important. But for this particular client, she didn't even have to fully figure out what her next level leap was going to be because she got a call after a few months of quiet. She got a call for the interview, for which was like the second phase interview, for a job opportunity that she's been really, really wanting and calling in. And so that leap for her to go to this job interview, which is very great chance that she will get this opportunity, step into that, which will require her to go to a new job, make way more money than what she's making right now, almost double her income, relocate to another city, which she's been wanting to do in order to improve her dating life and her social life, and letting go of the old things. This was a leap that came to her after 2 months of silence and not hearing back about this job after she did the first round interview. She finally got a call back after a few months. So that next level leap came to her as soon as I told her, it's time for your next level leap. Before you know it, a couple of days later, she got a call back, and it's time for her to take this leap. So I'm super excited for her. But that next level leap is the moment. This is going to be the moment for you when, Source, Allah, God, the universe, whatever you want to say, this is when your soul is being called and it's conspiring with you to launch you forward into your next level. Now, like I said, this can happen in a few ways. The first way is like an intentional leap, okay? This could look like, let's say if you have a business, maybe you launch a new offer, maybe you launch the business, maybe you put yourself out there in a way that you haven't before, and you take a big leap forward to catapult your business forward. Maybe it's raising your prices. Maybe it's asking for more money, like whatever it is. This could look like letting go of a relationship, or finally making the decision to commit to a relationship or to get married or something of that sort, right? But you're making a big decision that you've been avoiding or putting off, or that you've been a little fearful, that's going to catapult you into the future. This could be moving to a new city, making a powerful investment in yourself, in your business, in your personal life, but maybe you're betting on you at a higher level that you've never bet before. This could also be like deciding to date differently or to set stronger boundaries, or you're finally making decisions that you have been saying yes to for so long that's requiring a bigger, bolder you. But you are consciously making the decision to choose to leap forward. Now, the other option are the divinely timed leaps, like the one that I just mentioned. A job opportunity lands in your lap. Maybe you experience a sudden breakup or a divorce or something that just feels out of your control, and you have no choice but to leave and to move forward after knowing for months or maybe even years that wasn't the right relationship for you. Maybe it's losing something and you end up gaining a clearer path or a clearer opportunity because of that. This happens to me so much. I will lose something because I don't lose things very often. So whenever I lose something or something breaks, I know that I'm being called to a different version of myself. I know a new path is opening up. That may sound too woo-woo for some of you, but I've been doing this long enough. I pay attention to patterns. That is my gift. So I know when these things are happening. So when I lose something, and here's the crazy thing. Sometimes I lose things and I go through the whole process of replacing or whatever I need to do. And then what happens, which, all right, I might feel the stress, but here's the test in those moments. The test is, how do I emotionally respond? Because if I get really upset and I beat myself up or I go into a downward spiral, then that's like a test that I'm not quite ready for that next level. But if I'm able to just move forward with grace and compassion and just do what I have to do and keep moving forward, a lot of times what ends up happening, I end up finding the very thing that I lost, almost like, how could I have missed this? Like, for example, I lost a card recently and I had searched my wallet over and over and over and over and over again. And this card was not there. It was not there. Ordered a replace, but I knew what was going on, right? So I'm like, okay, like something's going on. How did I lose this card? Go through the whole replacement process, replace the card, everything. I'm at the grocery store. This was about like 2 weeks ago, maybe, if that. When at the grocery store, I go to pull out the card and the card's not working. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, how is this card not working? And come to find out that it was the old card and it was in my wallet. And I'm like, how did that I searched my wallet so many times. So this is something that I'm super familiar with when that happens with me. usually when I'm being pushed to my next level, things will start breaking. I'll start losing stuff. Those are like the warning signs for me that my next level is approaching. It's very spiritual, very woo, but I've seen this happen so many times. So I'm very hyper aware of when things start breaking or I start losing things, that my next level is coming. But this might be happening for you too. And another thing that might happen where you're being divinely called to your next level is maybe you make a new connection, or your trip shifts, or your energy overnight, where all of a sudden things that you were once stuck on or you once did just no longer serves you. This could be, let's just say if you're traveling and something happens to stop your travel plans or to shift your travel plans that is just out of your control, but because of that shift or because of that, it ended up catapulting and resulting in a whole different outcome that may have been even greater than you may have asked, or it may have been protecting you from something that no longer serves you. And like I said, it could also be a new connection. Maybe you make a new friend. Maybe you make an acquaintance. Maybe you go somewhere, and because you made the decision to go to that event or connect with a friend or just go for a walk that day, you end up crossing paths with someone. And then that ends up leading to maybe a career opportunity, maybe a relationship, maybe a friendship, maybe something that opens up that opportunity. So these are just some of the ways that you divinely get catapulted onto that next level and the leap that chooses you. And it's all about that divine timing and you just calling that in and manifesting that next big leap, whether you liked it or not. But either way, the whole purpose of this is to catapult you into alignment. So you have to interpret the pattern of where have you been settling so that you can activate the new version of yourself and understand that what you want is waiting for you. But sometimes you're going to have to make those big decisions. You cannot tiptoe out of your comfort zone. Okay? It's a declaration. It's not just a destination. It's a decision that you're going to make that it's time for you to go. It's time for you to move. It's time for you to go. Now, the last phase that you need to focus on is the phase of integration. And this is something that I struggled with for a long time because I did not have this key. I did not know that this was something that I needed. And I have done a lot of self-sabotaging in my life because I did not know that this was the missing piece. The missing piece of integration. And integration is where your nervous system learns to believe in that new reality and to feel safe in it. Now, I can tell you one of the most sabotaging things or experiences that I have been through was when I was a few years back. I manifested, called in, got into alignment with the version of me that had my first $30,000 month. And this was a huge win. I mean, just a month before, I made like just enough money to make sure that like I covered the things that needed to be covered, like financially, right? Like I had made just enough money to make sure that like things were met, right? That I needed to pay for and things that I need to pay for in my business. And then the next month, after a struggle month, the next month, I called in $30,000, which was my highest month that I had ever manifested, that I had ever worked and earned in my business. And I went into immediate fear and scarcity mindset. I went into, what if I can't repeat this again? What if this was just a fluke? What if I mess this money up? What if I can't handle this? I felt burnt out, so I went into the fear of burnout, the fear of, I'm going to have to do this month after month after month. I can't handle this. And because I went into that fear, I went into feeling all the burnout and exhausted emotions that were created from the amount of energy that I had to put into to make that type of leap. And when our nervous system gets into that space, what's going to happen is that we're going to self-sabotage because we're going to find ways to push it away. If you've called in an amount of money that you've never called in before, you're going to look for ways to try to get rid of it. This is why most lottery winners end up going broke, because they've all of a sudden gotten all this money that they've never had before. And on this deeper subconscious level, they never actually changed their patterns, changed their habits, and they never made their nervous system feel safe with it. So on a deeper subconscious level, their brain is telling them, this is not safe to have this amount of money. We have to get rid of it. If you've been calling in love, if you've been calling in a partner, and you finally attract that relationship or the type of person that you've always wanted, and then you start causing arguments, you start causing fights, you start anxiously attaching, or maybe you shut down and avoid, but you start creating a circumstance on a deeper subconscious level without you even realizing it, that ends up causing a breakup. Maybe it's in your relationship and things are going good and you're married and you're having a nice peaceful time, and then before you know it, you find some way to cause an argument, you find some reason to cause a fight or to complain or to nag, or you find a way to mess it up because things are just going too good to be true, and you need to find a way to get back to the old. These are patterns when your nervous system is dysregulated and your mind is going to try to find a way to get back to what's familiar. So it's so important for you to integrate. I've messed up so many things in my life, and I'm just being really, really transparent with you because I was not emotionally regulated and I didn't know that this was something that I needed. But this is the most overlooked part of the transformation and next level manifestation process. Because after you take a big leap, after you step into that next level, what most people miss is that nervous system catching up with your growth. When you don't do that, you will sabotage. So if you're unfamiliar with integration is when you emotionally and energetically are able to process and anchor into your next level. So it's not about you doing more. You go through this big leap and you get this burst of energy, you get this burst of growth. It's not about you doing more to keep up with it. It's about you having the mental and emotional capacity to hold more. And this is where you may be attracting things but not keeping it. You attract a relationship but you can't keep it. You attract the peace in your marriage but you can't keep it. You attract the money but you can't keep it. You attract the weight loss but you can't keep it, right? All of these things have to do with you not being emotionally regulated. Emotional regulation looks like, your nervous system feeling supported. It looks like building routines. And here at the Love Loft, when we talk about, your emotional regulation, your nervous system being supported, we do Reiki, we do sound baths, breath work, even just a guidance session where you can just ask questions, talk it out, have some way to mentally process your emotions if that's what you like to do. This could be being in community and just being supported, upheld by other people who are on the same journey. So you have a safe space to come into. But this emotional regulation and nervous system support is one of the ways that could look like. This could look like building new routines that match your new identity. I just did this right before jumping on here to record. I took out a pack of Oreo chocolate chip cookies that I was going to bake. Because I really wanted to taste it. And then I said, no. That's choosing the old identity. We're back on our health kick. We're getting back to body goals. We're going to turn off the oven, put this in the fridge, and make some tuna fish with jalapenos and put it on a wasa gluten-free cracker and call it a day. And it did the job. No, it's not a cookie, but it did the job for the snack that I needed, and it was high protein and it fit into my macros. So you got to build new patterns and new routines to match your new identity. This also looks like making decisions from your new standard and not from your old state of fear. And this shows up a lot of times when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money, making money. It could be asking for a promotion, raising your prices, negotiating on your terms. I had another client last week who had a job interview, and one of the things that we had to talk about, because she was feeling all the stress and all the fear of exhaustion in her body before even getting the job or before even going on the interview. We had to talk about how to negotiate to get what she would need to feel safe at this next level if she were to take this job. But stepping into the version of you that's no longer making decisions from old fears, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear of success, all of that. This is where you start to regulate your nervous system. And then also releasing the panic of this might not last. And this was a big one for me in many different areas of my life. I have struggled with this for years, with the fear of this might not last. I can't keep this up. What if I, can't maintain this? All of those types of thoughts and beliefs. So what happens when you don't do this? What happens when you don't regulate your nervous system and you don't create emotional and mental capacity to receive more? Remember, the feminine is the receiving energy. What happens is you ghost aligned opportunities. This could be you ghost potential partners. Maybe you shut down in communication with your family or your friends. Maybe you don't show up to work, or maybe if you have a business and you don't show up to client calls, but you do things that allows you to not create the very thing that you want, right? This could look like, maybe I had a client once say that she gets brand deals on social media, and she would just not post the content because her fear and her anxiety would come up. And she knew that she could make money doing the brand deals, but she just wouldn't do it. She couldn't figure out why. And it's because she wasn't, her nervous system wasn't regulated to keep going at that next level. She was creating circumstances to keep herself safe and keep herself small. This could look like feeling like an imposter syndrome. Maybe you are in new environments, in new rooms, at a new job. Maybe you change gyms and it's a fancier gym and you feel like you don't belong or you don't fit in. Maybe you've upgraded your car or whatever those things are, but you feel like an imposter. You feel like you're lying. You feel like you don't belong. Maybe you are in a place where you have upgraded your career or launched a business and you feel like you're faking it, like you don't really deserve to be there, you don't really deserve the money, or you don't really deserve the clients, whatever those things are. Maybe you don't deserve the relationship and you feel like you're just lying, you're an imposter. But whatever that imposter syndrome comes up for you, this is what it looks like when you're not emotionally regulated. You could be shrinking, retreating, attracting your old patterns, and you're just doing the same thing on repeat, right? This could also be choosing the same partners over and over again, but have the same, basically the same person with just a different face. All of this goes down to you not being regulated. So without the emotional regulation, without integrating this new level, you'll treat your breakthrough like it's a temporary high. You are going to get the quick wins, attract the person in, you're going to maybe step into that next level, make that big leap, and then you're going to find every single way you can to get back to what is familiar. So integrating needs to become your new baseline once you make that big shift. It's going to prevent the self-sabotage so that you no longer run from what you've been praying for. Instead, your nervous system is going to learn how to be abundant. It's going to learn to love. And it's going to learn how to stay in alignment because you are safe to hold it. It's going to help you to shift your identity. I sound like the girl on Love Island. It's going to help you to shift your identity. Stabilize your emotions, increase your self-worth, and expand your capacity to receive, where you're able to attract and sustain more without the fear of losing it. So I want you to ask yourself, and you can journal this out and ask yourself, what part of my leap, of my next level leap, still feels unsafe to my mind or my body? Where am I tempted to return to comfort instead of anchoring into growth? If you're reaching out to this ex, that might be for you. What new boundaries, routines, or support systems does this version need of me? You need to ask yourself, and that's very, very big. I'm very big on the boundaries, the routines, and the support systems. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Love Loft, and I've told you a lot about it, but this is a lot of the work that we do when it comes to working with our clients, our memberships, whether you are Embody Essentials and just a virtual online membership, a source member, or if you're a one-to-one client. This is the work that we do. We help you to intentionally and strategically call in your next level, whether it's love, money, lifestyle, whatever it is that you want. It's all tailored to you, but to help you to also regulate yourself along the way. So yes, you're going to get clear on your vision, your patterns. You're going to do the unblocking. You're going to do the inner work, but we're also going to make sure that you are emotionally and mentally held so that you expand your capacity to receive and sustain more. And we do that with the recalibration sessions, like the Reiki or the guidance or sound baths, breath work, just being in community, having support. All of this helps you. You know, the Love Loop Rewiring Vault, the sessions, the Sunday Sanctuary sessions where you can do things in group. All of this is available to you to help you to make sure that you are supported and held, and you're not just taking this big leap and getting what you want and then reverting back to always. You have to make a lifestyle shift. It has to be your new lifestyle and your new way of being. So I hope that you will join us at the Love Loft. You can feel free to join us and join us at any level. We have 3 different levels. I'll make sure that all the information is in the show notes so that you can become a member of the Love Loft at whatever level that you're at. It doesn't matter where you're at right now. If you're in a rock bottom, if you're feeling pretty secure, you're ready to move to your next level, or maybe you're already at your next level, but you're ready to go even higher. We have something to offer everyone, no matter what stage you're at, no matter what income bracket you're at. We have a way to support you. So go to the link in the show notes to find out how you can get in alignment with your next level and how we can do it. And if you need some additional help, feel free to book a consultation where we can talk you through and help you to get clear on what that next level step needs to be. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Make sure that you focus on those 3 steps so that you are taking the actionable moves. That's the energy shedding, your next level leap, and then your integration. Hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon.